In an era defined by digital interconnectedness, our personal information is constantly at risk. From credit card details to medical records, the digital footprints we leave behind are a treasure trove for cybercriminals. But there's one piece of data that stands out as particularly valuable and vulnerable: your social security number. This 9-digit identifier, once relegated to dusty filing cabinets, is now the key to unlocking your financial identity. And in 2024, the threat to this vital piece of information has reached a fever pitch. Social security hacks, once a niche concern, have exploded into a mainstream crisis, leaving millions of Americans vulnerable to financial ruin and identity theft. This isn't just another tech scare story, it's a clear and present danger that demands our attention. We'll delve into the shadowy world of social security hacks, exposing the methods used by cybercriminals and the devastating impact these attacks have on ordinary people. To understand the gravity of this threat, we need to grasp why your social security number is so valuable to hackers. It's not just a random string of digits, it's the skeleton key to your financial identity. With your SSN, criminals can open credit cards in your name, drain your bank accounts, and even access your medical benefits. Think of it as the ultimate piece of identity theft. It's the holy grail for cybercriminals looking to make a quick profit or wreak havoc on unsuspecting victims. And in the wrong hands, it can be used to perpetrate a dizzying array of fraudulent activities. The alarm bells have been ringing for years, but 2024 feels different. It's not just the sheer volume of attacks that's alarming. It's the brazenness and sophistication of the methods being used. We're seeing a marked shift from simple phishing scams to highly targeted attacks that exploit vulnerabilities in government systems and corporate databases. Remember that massive data breach at credit reporting agency Equifax back in 2017? That exposed the social security numbers of over 147 million Americans. Now imagine that on a larger scale, with hackers gaining access to government databases containing even more sensitive information. That's the reality we're facing in 2024. Why are senior citizens particularly susceptible to social security hacks? There are a few reasons. Firstly, many older adults grew up in a pre-digital age and may not be as tech-savvy as younger generations. They might not be as familiar with the latest online scams or security protocols, making them easier targets for phishing attacks and other forms of social engineering. Secondly, seniors are more likely to rely heavily on Social Security for their income. Any disruption to their benefits can have a devastating impact on their lives, making them more likely to panic and make rash decisions if contacted by someone claiming to be from the Social Security Administration. And lastly, there's a misconception among some cybercriminals that older adults are less likely to report fraud or pursue legal action. They may see seniors as easy targets who are less likely to put up a fight, making them prime candidates for exploitation. Section 5, a system under siege. The growing sophistication of attacks. The methods used by hackers to steal social security numbers are constantly evolving, becoming more sophisticated and harder to detect. Gone are the days of relying solely on phishing emails with poorly written subject lines. Today's cybercriminals are using advanced techniques like malware, social engineering, and even exploiting vulnerabilities in government and corporate systems. One increasingly common tactic is malware. Malicious software designed to infiltrate your computer or mobile device and steal your personal information. This can be done through infected email attachments, malicious links, or even by visiting compromised websites. Another method is social engineering, where hackers use psychological manipulation to trick you into revealing your social security number or other sensitive information. They might impersonate a government official, a bank representative, or even a trusted friend or family member to gain your trust and then exploit it for their gain. Section 6. The high cost of inaction beyond financial ruin. The impact of social security hacks extends far beyond just financial loss, although that in itself can be devastating. Imagine having your bank accounts drained, your credit score ruined, and your identity stolen, all because someone got their hands on your social security number. It's a nightmare scenario that can take years to recover from, both financially and emotionally, but the true cost of these attacks goes even deeper. Victims often experience a profound sense of violation and loss of control. They may feel anxious, depressed, and distrustful of others, impacting their relationships and overall well-being. For elderly victims, the consequences can be particularly severe. Many seniors live on fixed incomes and rely heavily on social security for their basic needs. Having their benefits stolen or disrupted can throw their lives into turmoil, leading to missed bill payments, eviction, or even hunger. Section 7. Knowledge is power. Equipping ourselves for the fight. The good news is that while the threat is real and growing, there are steps you can take to protect yourself and your loved ones from becoming victims of social security hacks. It starts with awareness, understanding the methods used by hackers and the warning signs of a potential scam. We'll delve into practical tips and strategies for safeguarding your social security number both online and offline. From monitoring your credit report to using strong passwords and enabling two-factor authentication, we'll cover it all. We'll also discuss the resources available to victims of identity theft, including government agencies, credit reporting bureaus, and consumer protection organizations. Remember, knowledge is power, and by arming ourselves with the right information, we can navigate the digital landscape with confidence and protect ourselves from these insidious attacks. Let's pull back the curtain and expose the tactics used in a typical social security hack. It's not as simple as some Hollywood movies might make it seem. These aren't just kids in hoodies banging away at keyboards. We're talking about sophisticated operations, often with multiple players, and elaborate schemes designed to exploit human vulnerabilities as much as technical ones. The first objective is always the same: get their hands on your social security number. This can be achieved through various means, each with its own level of complexity and potential for damage. Once they have your SSN, the possibilities are chilling. They can assume your identity, opening credit cards, taking out loans, and even filing tax returns in your name. This isn't just about stealing money. It's about hijacking your financial life, leaving you to pick up the pieces. And the longer it goes undetected, the more devastating the consequences can be. One of the most common methods employed by social security hackers is phishing. This is a type of online fraud where criminals attempt to trick you into revealing sensitive information such as your SSN, passwords, or credit card details by posing as a trustworthy entity. Think of it as the digital equivalent of a wolf in sheep's clothing. You might receive an email that looks like it's from the Social Security Administration, your bank, or even a trusted online retailer. It might warn of a problem with your account or offer a too-good-to-be-true deal, all in an attempt to lure you into clicking a malicious link or opening an infected attachment. Once you take the bait, you're redirected to a fake website designed to mimic the real deal. Here you're prompted to enter your personal information, unwittingly handing it over to the scammers, and just like that, your identity is compromised. While phishing relies on deception, malware takes a more insidious approach. This malicious software is designed to infiltrate your computer or mobile device without your knowledge, often lurking in the background while it silently steals your data. Think of it as a digital parasite, latching onto your device and siphoning off your information without you even realizing it. Malware can be spread through various channels, including infected email attachments, malicious links on websites, or even by downloading seemingly harmless software from untrusted sources. Once installed on your device, malware can wreak havoc. It can log your keystrokes, capturing everything you type, including passwords and credit card numbers. It can scan your hard drive for sensitive files such as tax returns or financial statements and send them back to the hackers. And in some cases, it can even take control of your webcam or microphone, recording your every move and conversation. Section 4, Social Engineering, the Art of Deception. Not all social security hacks rely on technical wizardry. Some criminals prefer a more old-school approach, social engineering. This involves manipulating people into revealing confidential information, often by exploiting their trust, naivety, or willingness to help. Think of it as the con artist's playbook, adapted for the digital age. A social engineer might call you pretending to be from the Social Security Administration, claiming there's been an error with your account or that you're entitled to a refund. They might even threaten legal action or arrest if you don't cooperate. Their goal is to create a sense of urgency or fear, leading you to act impulsively and reveal information you wouldn't normally share. They might ask for your social security number, your bank account details, or even your mother's maiden name. All pieces of the puzzle they can use to steal your identity. Section 5, data breaches when walls come crumbling down. Sometimes social security numbers are compromised not through individual targeting but through large-scale data breaches. These occur when hackers gain unauthorized access to a company's or organization's computer systems, often targeting databases containing sensitive personal information. Think of it as a digital bank heist, where instead of stealing cash, criminals make off with a treasure trove of valuable data. These breaches can affect millions of people at once, exposing their names, addresses, social security numbers, credit card details, and other sensitive information. In recent years, we've seen a surge in high-profile data breaches affecting major corporations, government agencies, and even healthcare providers. These incidents highlight the vulnerability of our personal information in an increasingly digital world and the devastating consequences that can follow a breach. Section 6. The domino effect. Unraveling a stolen identity. Once hackers have their hands on your social security number, the damage can be swift and devastating. It's like handing them the keys to your financial kingdom, allowing them to assume your identity and wreak havoc on your life. The first sign of trouble might be unfamiliar charges on your credit card statement or a drop in your credit score, but soon the situation can spiral out of control. Hackers can use your stolen identity to open new credit cards, take out loans, rent apartments, and even obtain medical care, all in your name. You might not even realize what's happening until the bills start piling up, the collection agencies start calling, and your credit score plummets. Unraveling the damage can be a long and arduous process, requiring countless hours spent contacting credit bureaus, filing police reports, and disputing fraudulent charges. Section 7. Benefit theft, siphoning away your security. For many Americans, especially seniors, Social Security benefits are a lifeline, providing essential income to cover basic needs like housing, food, and healthcare. But what happens when those benefits are stolen or diverted due to identity theft? The consequences can be catastrophic. Hackers who obtain your Social Security number can use it to reroute your benefits to their own accounts, leaving you high and dry. They might change your address on file, intercept your checks, or even access your My Social Security account online to make unauthorized changes. Imagine logging into your account only to discover that your monthly payment has been redirected to an unknown address or that your personal information has been changed. The stress and anxiety of such a discovery can be overwhelming, especially for seniors who rely on those benefits to make ends meet. Section 8. Credit fraud, a mountain of debt in your name. One of the most common and damaging consequences of Social Security theft is credit fraud. Armed with your SSN, criminals can open new credit card accounts, take out loans and rack up mountains of debt, all in your name. They might apply for credit cards at multiple retailers, max them out, and then disappear, leaving you with the unpaid bills and the damaged credit history. They might take out payday loans, which often come with exorbitant interest rates, trapping you in a cycle of debt. The worst part, you might not even know this is happening until you try to apply for credit yourself, only to be denied or offered unfavorable terms due to the fraudulent activity on your credit report. Repairing your credit after such an ordeal can take years, requiring meticulous effort and often professional help. Section 9. The emotional fallout beyond financial ruin. The impact of social security hacks extends far beyond just financial loss. The emotional toll can be just as devastating, leaving victims feeling violated, vulnerable, and distrustful. Imagine the shock of discovering that your identity has been stolen, that someone has been living your life, using your name and ruining your credit. It's a profound violation of trust, a feeling that your personal space has been invaded and your sense of security shattered. Victims often experience a range of emotions, including anger, fear, anxiety, and even shame. They might blame themselves for being careless or question their ability to protect themselves in the digital age. These feelings can linger long after the financial damage has been addressed, impacting relationships, mental health, and overall well-being. Section 10, a call to action safeguarding your future. The threat of social security hacks is real and growing, but it's not an insurmountable challenge. By understanding the methods used by hackers and taking proactive steps to protect ourselves, we can significantly reduce our risk of becoming victims. This isn't just about safeguarding our social security numbers, it's about protecting our identities, our finances, and our peace of mind. In the following sections, we'll delve into practical tips and strategies for fortifying our defenses, both online and offline. We'll explore how to monitor our credit reports, recognize and avoid phishing scams, strengthen our passwords, and enable two-factor authentication. We'll also discuss the resources available to victims of identity theft, providing a roadmap for recovery and empowering ourselves to fight back against these insidious attacks. Section 1. The price of vulnerability. Quantifying the impact. The impact of social security hacks is often measured in dollars and cents, a cold, hard metric that fails to capture the full scope of the devastation. Yes, the financial losses are staggering, but the true cost runs much deeper, leaving an indelible mark on individuals, families, and communities across the nation. To truly grasp the magnitude of this crisis, we need to look beyond the balance sheets and into the lives upended, the dreams shattered, and the futures left hanging in the balance. These aren't just abstract statistics, they represent real people, many of whom are already struggling to make ends meet, now grappling with the devastating consequences of a crime they didn't commit. In this digital age where our personal information is currency, we've become alarmingly vulnerable to those who seek to exploit it. And as the sophistication of cyber attacks continues to outpace our defenses, the price of that vulnerability is being paid by millions of Americans, often with their livelihoods, their sense of security, and their very identities on the line. Section 2. A nation under siege, the staggering statistics. The numbers paint a grim picture. Over 15 million Americans were victims of identity theft in 2023, a staggering increase from previous years. The financial losses are equally alarming. Consumers lost over $5.8 billion to identity theft. The true cost is likely much higher, lurking in the shadows of an underreported epidemic. Section 3. The human cost, beyond dollars and cents. While the financial implications of social security hacks are undeniable, it's the human cost that truly underscores the gravity of this crisis. Imagine the crushing weight of discovering that your identity has been stolen, that someone has been living your life, using your name, and wreaking havoc on your credit. The emotional toll can be devastating. Victims often experience a profound sense of violation, a loss of control over their own lives. They may feel anxious, depressed, and distrustful of others, impacting their relationships and their overall well-being. For some, the road to recovery is long and arduous, marked by countless hours spent contacting credit bureaus, filing police reports, and disputing fraudulent charges. The stress of navigating this bureaucratic maze can be overwhelming, compounding the emotional trauma of the initial violation. Section 4, a generation in peril, the elderly bear the brunt. While social security hacks affect Americans of all ages, backgrounds and income levels, there's one demographic that's particularly vulnerable: the elderly. Often less tech-savvy and more trusting of authority figures, seniors are prime targets for scammers looking to exploit their vulnerabilities. For many older adults, social security benefits represent their sole source of income, a lifeline that sustains their daily lives. When those benefits are stolen or disrupted, the consequences can be catastrophic, leading to missed bill payments, eviction, or even hunger. Adding insult to injury, seniors often face unique challenges in recovering from identity theft. They may lack the technical skills to navigate online reporting systems or the financial resources to hire professional help. And because they often discover the fraud later, the damage can be more extensive and difficult to undo. Section 5. Eroding trust, the social impact of cybersecurity breaches. The impact of social security hacks extends far beyond the individuals and families directly affected. These breaches erode public trust in institutions, fuel a sense of vulnerability, and cast a long shadow over our digital lives. When seemingly secure government systems are compromised, it raises questions about the safety of our personal information and the ability of those entrusted with it to safeguard it effectively. This erosion of trust can have far-reaching consequences, impacting everything from our willingness to engage in online transactions to our confidence in the government's ability to protect its citizens. Moreover, the fear of identity theft can have a chilling effect on our online behavior, making us more reluctant to share personal information, shop online, or even connect with friends and family through social media. This can lead to a more fragmented and distrustful online environment, hindering innovation and undermining the potential of the digital age. Section 6. A crisis of confidence, the government's response. In the wake of high-profile social security hacks, the government has faced mounting pressure to address the crisis and provide support to those affected. However, the response has been criticized by some as slow, inadequate, and lacking in urgency. While the Social Security Administration has taken steps to enhance its security measures and streamline the process for reporting fraud, many victims still face a bureaucratic maze, navigating complex forms, long wait times, and a lack of clear guidance. This can be particularly challenging for elderly victims who may lack the technical skills or the stamina to navigate this system effectively. Moreover, there have been calls for greater accountability and transparency from government agencies, with demands for investigations into the causes of data breaches, the prosecution of those responsible, and the implementation of stricter regulations to prevent future attacks. The government's ability to regain public trust and effectively address this crisis hinges on its willingness to take decisive action and prioritize the protection of its citizens' most sensitive information. Section 7. The financial black hole, the cost of recovery. Recovering from a social security hack is not just an emotional ordeal, it's a financial one as well. Victims often incur significant expenses in their efforts to reclaim their identities and rebuild their lives. There's the cost of credit monitoring services, identity theft insurance, and legal fees if they choose to pursue legal action against the perpetrators. There's the lost time from work as they dedicate countless hours to contacting credit bureaus, filing police reports, and disputing fraudulent charges. And then there's the often hidden cost of missed opportunities, the inability to secure a loan, rent an apartment, or even get a job due to a damaged credit history. Section 8, drowning in debt, the crushing weight of fraudulent charges. And one of the most financially devastating consequences of social security theft is the accumulation of fraudulent debt. Armed with your stolen SSN, criminals can open new credit card accounts, take out loans, and rack up mountains of debt, all in your name. You might discover a new credit card account you never opened, a car loan you never took out, or even a mortgage on a property you've never heard of. These fraudulent charges can quickly snowball, leading to a downward spiral of debt, late fees, and damaged credit. Disputing these charges and clearing your name can be a long and arduous process, requiring meticulous documentation, persistent follow-up, and often legal assistance. Section 9. A life upended, the ripple effects of identity theft. The impact of social security theft often extends far beyond the initial financial loss and emotional distress. It can have a ripple effect, touching every aspect of a victim's life, from their relationships to their sense of self. Imagine the strain on personal relationships as you try to explain to loved ones why their credit cards were declined or why their names are appearing on bills for purchases they never made. Imagine the fear of answering the phone, fearing it might be another debt collector or a law enforcement officer investigating a crime you didn't commit. The constant vigilance, the fear of the next shoe dropping can take a toll on your mental and physical health, leading to anxiety, depression, and even physical ailments. Section 10, the silent epidemic, underreporting and the true scope of the crisis. The true scope of the Social Security hack crisis remains largely unknown, shrouded in underreporting and a reluctance among victims to come forward. Many individuals, particularly seniors, are ashamed or embarrassed to admit they've been targeted, fearing judgment or repercussions. Others may not even realize they've been victimized, especially if the fraud is subtle or occurs over an extended period. They might attribute unfamiliar charges to a mistake, dismiss suspicious activity as a misunderstanding, or simply lack the technical expertise to recognize the warning signs. This underreporting makes it difficult to accurately assess the true extent of the problem, hindering efforts to allocate resources effectively, develop targeted prevention strategies, and hold perpetrators accountable. It also perpetuates a dangerous cycle of silence, allowing cybercriminals to operate with impunity and leaving potential victims vulnerable to their schemes. Section 11. A system overwhelmed, navigating the bureaucracy of recovery. For those who do come forward to report social security theft, the road to recovery can be long, complex, and frustrating. They often encounter a bureaucratic maze, navigating a labyrinthine system of government agencies, credit reporting bureaus, and financial institutions, each with its own set of procedures, requirements, and wait times. Imagine spending hours on hold, only to be transferred from one department to another, each representative seemingly unaware of the other's role in the process. Imagine filling out endless forms, providing the same information repeatedly, each request for documentation, adding another layer of complexity to an already overwhelming situation. This bureaucratic nightmare can be particularly challenging for elderly victims who may lack the technical skills to navigate online reporting systems, the stamina to endure long wait times, or the financial resources to hire professional help. Section 12. The long road back, rebuilding credit and trust. Even after the immediate crisis has passed, the long-term consequences of social security theft can linger for years. Rebuilding your credit history after it's been tarnished by fraudulent activity is a meticulous and time-consuming process, requiring patience, persistence, and a thorough understanding of your rights as a consumer. You'll need to dispute each fraudulent account or charge individually, providing documentation to support your claim and meticulously tracking your progress. This often involves contacting multiple credit bureaus, creditors and collection agencies, navigating a complex web of correspondence, phone calls and online portals. Beyond the financial impact, there's the emotional toll of rebuilding trust. Trust in institutions, trust in online systems, and even trust in yourself. Overcoming the sense of violation and vulnerability that often accompanies identity theft takes time, support, and a conscious effort to reclaim your sense of security and control. Section 13, a collective responsibility, protecting our most vulnerable. The fight against social security hacks is not just a matter of individual responsibility. It requires a collective effort from government agencies, corporations, and individuals alike. We need stronger security measures, stricter regulations, and a greater emphasis on education and awareness. Government agencies need to prioritize the protection of sensitive personal information, investing in robust cybersecurity systems, implementing stricter data security standards, and holding those responsible for breaches accountable. Corporations that collect and store our data have a responsibility to safeguard it effectively, implementing safeguards against unauthorized access, encryption, and other security protocols. But ultimately, the first line of defense is ourselves. By staying informed about the latest scams, practicing safe online habits, and being vigilant in protecting our personal information, we can significantly reduce our risk of becoming victims. Section 1. The day the system broke. A timeline of chaos. It began, as these things often do, with a whisper in the digital ether. A seemingly insignificant anomaly in a government database. A blip on a security monitor. A line of code gone awry. But this was no ordinary glitch. It was the first tremor of a digital earthquake that would soon shake the nation's confidence in its most vital institutions. The date was March 12th, 2024. The target, the Social Security Administration's master database, a repository of sensitive personal information for hundreds of millions of Americans. The perpetrators, a shadowy group of cybercriminals, their motives a murky mix of financial gain, political disruption, or perhaps a simple desire to expose the fragility of the systems we rely on. Whatever their reasons, their actions were about to plunge the nation into chaos. As the day wore on, the whispers turned to shouts, the blips into sirens. Reports began to surface of unauthorized access, of data breaches, of social security numbers spilled onto the dark web like digital confetti. Section 2, Ground Zero. Identifying the point of failure. The immediate aftermath of any major cyber attack is always a chaotic scramble to understand what happened, how it happened, and who's responsible. In the case of the 2024 Social Security hack, the investigation led deep into the heart of the government's digital infrastructure, exposing vulnerabilities that had been lurking beneath the surface for years. The breach, it turned out, was a perfect storm of human error, systemic failures, and a level of sophistication on the part of the attackers that caught even seasoned cybersecurity experts off guard. A single compromised password, a software vulnerability left unpatched, a lapse in judgment. These seemingly small oversights, when chained together, created a pathway for the hackers to infiltrate the system's most sensitive areas. Once inside, they moved with chilling efficiency, exploiting weaknesses in the system's architecture, bypassing security protocols, and covering their tracks with a level of expertise that suggested a deep understanding of the SSA's inner workings. Section 3. The fallout begins. A nation reels from the breach. As news of the hack spread, a wave of panic washed over the nation. Social media erupted with a mixture of fear, anger, and a healthy dose of "I told you so" from those who had long warned about the government's vulnerability to cyber attacks. Financial markets shuddered as investors grappled with the potential economic fallout. Lawmakers traded accusations, demanding answers and accountability. And in homes across the country, a collective sense of dread set in as Americans checked their credit reports, changed their passwords, and wondered if they were among the millions whose most sensitive information had been compromised. Section 4. The government's response, a scramble for answers. Faced with mounting pressure and a growing sense of public outrage, the government scrambled to respond to the crisis. Emergency hearings were convened, task forces were assembled, press conferences were held, promising swift action and accountability. But the initial response was hampered by a lack of coordination and a sense that the government was playing catch-up with a crisis that had spiraled out of control. Section 5. A patchwork of solutions addressing the immediate crisis. The immediate priority in the wake of the hack was to mitigate the damage and provide support to those affected. The Social Security Administration, working with credit reporting agencies and financial institutions, implemented a series of measures aimed at containing the breach and preventing further fraud. credit freezes were offered to all Americans, allowing them to restrict access to their credit reports, making it more difficult for criminals to open new accounts in their names. Fraud alerts were placed on the accounts of those whose social security numbers were known to have been compromised, flagging suspicious activity and requiring additional verification for new account openings. The government also established a dedicated website and hotline for victims to report identity theft, access resources, and receive guidance on navigating the recovery process. These measures, while helpful, were often overwhelmed by the sheer volume of those seeking assistance, leaving many victims feeling frustrated, helpless, and uncertain about the future. Section 6. The blame game. Who's accountable for the breach? As the initial shock of the hack began to wear off, the blame game began in earnest. Lawmakers pointed fingers at the Social Security Administration, accusing the agency of lax security measures, outdated technology, and a failure to heed warnings from cybersecurity experts. The SSA, in turn, defended its track record, arguing that the attack was unprecedented in its sophistication and that no system is completely impenetrable in the face of a determined and well-resourced adversary. The debate played out in the media, in courtrooms, and in the halls of Congress as victims, advocates, and policymakers grappled with the question of accountability. Was this a failure of government, a failure of technology, or a sign of the times, a stark reminder that in an increasingly interconnected world, no one is immune to the threat of cybercrime? Section 7. Lives on hold, navigating the aftermath of the hack. For millions of Americans, the 2024 Social Security hack wasn't just a news story. It was a life-altering event that upended their finances, their sense of security, and their faith in the institutions they had always relied on. Imagine the stress of discovering that your Social Security number, the key to your financial identity, was now in the hands of criminals. Imagine the fear of opening your mail, wondering if it would contain a bill for a purchase you never made, or a notice from a collection agency demanding payment for a debt that wasn't yours. For many, the hack was a constant source of anxiety, a dark cloud hanging over their lives as they navigated the complex and often overwhelming process of reclaiming their identities, repairing their credit, and rebuilding their lives. Section 8. The long road to recovery, rebuilding trust and security. Recovering from a cyber attack of this magnitude is not a sprint, it's a marathon. For many victims of the 2024 Social Security hack, the road to recovery was long, arduous, and often emotionally draining. They spent countless hours on the phone with credit reporting agencies, disputing fraudulent charges and trying to clear their names. They filed police reports, contacted government agencies, and sought legal counsel, navigating a complex web of bureaucracy and often encountering roadblocks and dead ends. And beyond the practical challenges, there was the emotional toll of having their privacy violated, their sense of security shattered, and their trust in institutions shaken. Section 9. Lessons learned, a wake-up call for cybersecurity. The 2024 Social Security hack was a watershed moment for cybersecurity in the United States. It exposed the vulnerabilities not just of government systems, but of the very fabric of our digital lives, forcing a long overdue conversation about the importance of protecting our personal information in an increasingly interconnected world. In the wake of the hack, there were calls for greater investment in cybersecurity, both at the government and corporate levels. Lawmakers proposed legislation to strengthen data security standards, mandate breach notifications, and increase penalties for cybercriminals. Businesses, recognizing the reputational and financial risks of data breaches, poured resources into bolstering their defenses, upgrading their systems, and training their employees on best practices for cybersecurity hygiene. The hack served as a wake-up call, a stark reminder that in the digital age, security is not an option, it's an imperative. Section 10, a call to action, fortifying defenses for the future. The 2024 Social Security hack was a tragedy for the millions whose lives were upended by identity theft and financial hardship. But it was also a call to action, a reminder that in an increasingly digital world, we must all take responsibility for protecting our personal information and holding those entrusted with it accountable. For individuals, this means practicing good cyber hygiene, using strong passwords, being wary of phishing scams, and regularly monitoring our credit reports for suspicious activity. It means demanding greater transparency and accountability from the companies we do business with and the government agencies that hold our most sensitive data. And it means working together to create a more secure digital ecosystem, one where our personal information is treated with the respect it deserves and where cybercriminals are held accountable for their actions. Shielding your social security number, a fortress of prevention. In the digital age, our social security numbers are prime targets for cybercriminals. Protecting this 9-digit identifier is essential for safeguarding our financial identities. Treat your social security number with the utmost care and vigilance. Start with simple, practical steps to fortify your defenses. Every action you take adds another brick to the fortress safeguarding your identity. Credit monitoring, your early warning system. In the ongoing battle against identity theft, knowledge is power and early detection is key. That's where credit monitoring comes in, acting as your vigilant watchdog, alerting you to any suspicious activity that could signal your social security number is being misused. Think of it as an early warning system for your credit, a way to spot trouble before it escalates into a full-blown crisis. Credit monitoring services keep a watchful eye on your credit reports, looking for red flags such as new account openings, hard inquiries, or changes to your personal information. If any suspicious activity is detected, you'll receive an alert, typically via email or text message, allowing you to take immediate action. This early notification can be crucial in mitigating the damage, giving you a head start on contacting creditors, reporting fraud, and limiting the impact on your credit score. Identity theft protection, a safety net for the digital age. While credit monitoring serves as a valuable early warning system, identity theft protection takes it a step further, offering a comprehensive suite of services designed to help you prevent, detect, and resolve identity theft. Think of it as a safety net for the digital age, providing peace of mind and expert assistance in navigating the often complex world of identity theft. These services typically include credit monitoring, but they also go beyond, offering features such as identity theft insurance, lost wallet assistance, and even dedicated fraud resolution specialists who can help you navigate the recovery process. Some identity theft protection plans also offer dark web monitoring, which scans the hidden corners of the internet for any mention of your personal information, alerting you to potential threats before they can be exploited. While these services do come at a cost, the peace of mind and comprehensive protection they offer can be invaluable, especially in today's digital landscape where data breaches and identity theft are becoming increasingly common. In the physical world, we rely on multiple layers of security to protect our homes and valuables. We lock our doors, install security systems, and may even have neighborhood watch programs to deter criminals. The same principle applies in the digital world, where multi-factor authentication, or MFA, acts as a crucial second layer of defense for our online accounts. Think of it as double bolting your digital door, making it significantly harder for unauthorized users to gain access, even if they have your password. With MFA enabled, simply knowing your password isn't enough to get in. You'll also need to provide a second form of verification, such as a unique code sent to your phone, a fingerprint scan, or facial recognition. This extra step might seem like a minor inconvenience, but it adds a significant layer of security, making it much more difficult for hackers to access your accounts, even if they manage to steal your password through phishing or other means. Section 5, phishing awareness, don't take the bait. Phishing scams use deception to lure victims into revealing personal information. They often appear as emails, texts, or calls from legitimate sources. Think of it as a test of your digital street smarts. They exploit trust, willingness to help, or fear of missing out. They might warn of account issues, or offer deals, or even threaten legal action. Their goal is to trick you into revealing personal information. The best defense is awareness. Be wary of unsolicited messages requesting personal information. Section 6, password power, the first line of defense. In the digital realm, passwords are the gatekeepers to our online lives, protecting everything from our social media accounts to our financial information. Yet, despite their importance, many of us still rely on weak, easily guessable passwords, leaving our digital doors wide open to cybercriminals. Think of your passwords as the first line of defense in your digital fortress. A strong password is like a sturdy lock on your front door, deterring opportunistic criminals and making it much harder for determined attackers to breach your defenses. Creating a strong password doesn't require memorizing a string of random characters. Instead, focus on creating a passphrase, a string of words that's easy for you to remember but difficult for others to guess. Avoid using personal information such as your birth date or pet's name, which can be easily found online. And don't use the same password for multiple accounts, as a breach in one could compromise all of them. Section 7, social media savviness, protecting your digital footprint. Social media has become an integral part of our lives, a way to connect with friends, share experiences, and stay informed. But it's also a treasure trove of personal information for cybercriminals, who can use it to piece together our identities, guess our passwords, or even target us with phishing scams. Think of your social media presence as a digital footprint, a trail of breadcrumbs that reveals insights into your life, your habits, and your vulnerabilities. Protecting your privacy on social media isn't about being antisocial, it's about being smart, discerning, and in control of the information you share with the world. Start by reviewing your privacy settings on each platform, limiting the information visible to the public, and controlling who can see your posts and contact you. Be mindful of what you share, avoiding posting sensitive information such as your home address, phone number, or travel plans. Be wary of friend requests from people you don't know, as these could be fake accounts created by scammers. Section 8, safeguarding seniors, a shared responsibility. In the digital age, seniors are often seen as easy targets for cybercriminals, perceived as less tech-savvy, more trusting, and more vulnerable to scams. But protecting our older generation from social security, theft, and other forms of cybercrime is not just a matter of individual responsibility. It's a shared responsibility that requires a collective effort from families, communities, and society as a whole. Think of it as creating a safety net of support, a network of protection that empowers seniors to navigate the digital world with confidence and security. Start by having open and honest conversations about online safety, discussing common scams, sharing tips for protecting personal information, and emphasizing the importance of being cautious online. Help seniors set up strong passwords, enable two-factor authentication, and navigate privacy settings on their devices and social media accounts. Encourage them to be wary of unsolicited phone calls, emails, or messages requesting personal information, and to report any suspicious activity to the appropriate authorities. Section 9. Resources for recovery, navigating the aftermath. Discovering that your social security number has been compromised can be a disheartening and overwhelming experience, but it's important to remember that you're not alone, and there are resources available to help you navigate the aftermath, mitigate the damage, and begin the process of reclaiming your identity. Think of these resources as your lifeline, providing guidance, support, and practical steps to help you regain control of your financial life and move forward with confidence. One of the first steps you should take is to report the identity theft to the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC. The FTC's website offers a wealth of information on identity theft, including step-by-step guidance on how to report the crime, place fraud alerts on your credit reports, and create a recovery plan. You should also contact the Social Security Administration, or SSA, to report the misuse of your Social Security number and take steps to protect your benefits. Section 10. Reclaiming control, empowering ourselves in a digital world. The threat of Social Security hacks and identity theft can feel overwhelming, a constant reminder of the vulnerabilities we face in an increasingly digital world. But it's important to remember that we are not powerless in the face of these threats. By embracing a proactive approach to cybersecurity, educating ourselves about the latest scams, and taking practical steps to protect our personal information, we can reclaim control, minimize our risk, and navigate the digital landscape with confidence. Think of it as a shift in mindset, a move from feeling like a potential victim to becoming an empowered digital citizen, equipped with the knowledge and tools to safeguard our identities and protect our futures. This means staying informed about the latest cybersecurity threats, practicing good cyber hygiene, and being vigilant in monitoring our accounts for suspicious activity. It also means demanding greater transparency and accountability from the companies we do business with and the government agencies that hold our most sensitive data. Cybersecurity in the age of social security hacks. The battle against social security hacks is unending, with threats evolving and vulnerabilities emerging constantly. The 2024 hack exposed the fragility of our digital infrastructure and the human cost when defenses fail. Yet there's hope. For every cybercriminal, there are countless defenders ensuring our digital world remains a force for good. This is the unending battle of cybersecurity, a constant tug-of-war between innovation and exploitation. Section 2. Beyond the Horizon. Emerging technologies as guardians of trust. The challenges of cybersecurity may seem insurmountable, the threats constantly evolving, the attackers always one step ahead. But just as technology has given rise to these challenges, so too does it hold the key to overcoming them. On the horizon, a new wave of technologies promises to reshape the cybersecurity landscape, offering innovative solutions to safeguard our digital lives and restore trust in a world shaken by breaches and betrayals. Blockchain, the technology underpinning cryptocurrencies, offers a decentralized and tamper-proof way to store and verify data, making it significantly more difficult for hackers to alter or steal information. Artificial intelligence, with its ability to analyze vast amounts of data and identify patterns, can be trained to detect suspicious activity, flag potential threats, and even predict attacks before they occur. Quantum computing, still in its infancy but rapidly advancing, has the potential to revolutionize cryptography, creating virtually unbreakable encryption methods that could render current hacking techniques obsolete. A call for collective action, bridging the digital divide, protecting the vulnerable. The fight for cybersecurity is not a solitary pursuit, it's a collective responsibility that demands collaboration, innovation, and a shared commitment to protecting the most vulnerable among us. As we've seen, the impact of social security hacks falls disproportionately on those least equipped to cope with the fallout: seniors, low-income communities, and individuals with limited access to technology or digital literacy skills. Bridging this digital divide, ensuring that everyone has the knowledge and resources to navigate the online world safely and securely, is not just a matter of fairness. It's essential for creating a more equitable and resilient digital society. This requires a multi-pronged approach, one that encompasses education, access and support. Governments, educational institutions and community organizations all have a role to play in empowering individuals with the skills and knowledge to protect themselves online. From teaching basic cyber hygiene practices to providing access to affordable internet and devices, we must work together to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to participate fully in the digital world without fear of exploitation or harm. The power of awareness. Knowledge as the first line of defense. In the ever-evolving landscape of cybersecurity, knowledge is not just power, it's the first and most crucial line of defense. The more we understand about the tactics employed by cybercriminals, the red flags to watch out for, and the steps we can take to protect ourselves, the less likely we are to fall victim to their schemes. Awareness is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process of staying informed, adapting to new threats, and sharing our knowledge with others. It means staying abreast of the latest scams, understanding how phishing attacks work, and recognizing the signs of malware infection. It means practicing good password hygiene, using multi-factor authentication, and being cautious about the information we share online. But awareness goes beyond individual actions. It's about creating a culture of cybersecurity, where we talk openly about these threats, share tips and best practices, and look out for one another. Section 5. From victims to vigilantes, empowering individuals in the fight against cybercrime. The emotional and financial toll of social security hacks is undeniable, leaving many victims feeling vulnerable, violated, and powerless. But amidst the wreckage, there's a growing movement to reclaim that power, to shift from a mindset of victimhood to one of vigilance, from passive targets to active participants in the fight against cybercrime. This empowerment starts with education, with understanding that cybersecurity is not just the responsibility of governments or tech companies, but a shared responsibility that requires active participation from each of us. It means taking ownership of our online security, implementing strong passwords, being wary of phishing scams, and regularly monitoring our accounts for suspicious activity. But it goes beyond individual actions. It's about sharing our knowledge with others, educating our families and communities about the importance of cybersecurity, and advocating for stronger protections and greater accountability from the companies and institutions we entrust with our data. Section 6. Rebuilding trust. Restoring faith in a digital world shaken by betrayal. The 2024 Social Security hack wasn't just a breach of data, it was a breach of trust, a stark reminder that in the digital age, even our most sensitive information is vulnerable to exploitation. Rebuilding that trust, restoring faith in a digital world shaken by betrayal, is a monumental task, one that requires a fundamental shift in how we approach cybersecurity. It starts with accountability. Governments and corporations that collect and store our data must be held responsible for safeguarding it effectively, implementing robust security measures, and being transparent about breaches when they occur. But accountability alone is not enough. We also need to foster a culture of cybersecurity, where individuals feel empowered to protect themselves, where businesses prioritize data security, and where governments create a regulatory environment that encourages innovation while holding bad actors accountable. Section 7. A secure future built on a foundation of vigilance and collaboration. The future of cybersecurity is not predetermined. It's a future we are actively shaping through our actions, our choices, and our collective commitment to creating a safer and more secure digital world. It's a future where emerging technologies play a crucial role, where blockchain, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing help us stay one step ahead of cybercriminals and safeguard our most sensitive information. But technology alone is not enough. We also need to foster a culture of cybersecurity awareness, where individuals understand the risks, practice good cyber hygiene, and feel empowered to report suspicious activity. We need to bridge the digital divide, ensuring that everyone has access to the knowledge and resources they need to navigate the online world safely and securely. And we need to hold governments and corporations accountable for protecting our data, demanding transparency, and advocating for stronger security measures. Section 8. Staying ahead of the curve, a never-ending quest for digital resilience. The digital world is in a constant state of flux, a dynamic landscape where threats evolve, vulnerabilities emerge, and the quest for cybersecurity is a never-ending journey, not a destination. The 2024 Social Security hack, a stark reminder of the stakes involved, taught us that complacency is not an option, that staying ahead of the curve requires constant vigilance, adaptation, and a willingness to embrace new technologies and strategies. It's a journey that demands collaboration, a recognition that no single individual, organization, or government can tackle this challenge alone. We need to share information, best practices, and resources, working together to create a more resilient digital ecosystem. It's a journey that requires innovation, a constant push to develop new tools, techniques, and approaches to counter the evolving tactics of cybercriminals. And it's a journey that requires a fundamental shift in mindset, a recognition that cybersecurity is not just a technical challenge, but a human one rooted in our behaviors, our choices, and our collective responsibility to protect ourselves and one another in the